based on whatever part of the world you're in. Officially, on the behalf of the entire team, it is my privilege and honor to welcome you all to Metanoia, the international conference on meditation and mindfulness organized by ADN Talks. It is such a wonderful gathering here today. We've got 341 people and our guest speaker who's going to enlighten you on a wonderful topic. We are absolutely delighted to have you all gathering with us here today. Please remember to be as interactive as possible and get as much as you can from our session here today. All right? ADN Talks, as you've all watched the video, is a team guided by Guide Adnan Hadi that is driven by a flame, a vision to serve the world. We are driven to be a hand to hold, a palm to heal, a flame to frame the world through wisdom by imprinting ourselves for success here and hereafter. So let's officially kickstart Metanoia. If you're ready, let's spoil the chat box. If you're ready, just say you're ready in the chat box, please. Let's spoil the chat box here. Are you ready? Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Let's start on a single note of gratitude, because today, if there is one idea, one tool that the entire world, be it mystical science, be it advanced science, if there's one tool that they all vouch by, it is gratitude. So let's begin on a note of gratitude, okay? What are you most grateful for today? Can we put that in the chat box? What are you most grateful for today? It could be the lighting that lights your room. It could be the water you drink. It could be the fact that you're in a session here today. What are you most grateful for? For this beautiful morning, for being alive, for being here, for the breath. Wonderful. For my mother. Amazing. For this moment. For parents and family. Amazing. For your coach, for your baby. For this moment, for now. Grateful to be the part of a team, being alive with friends. Literally everything. Amazing. Thank you, guys. It feels so beautiful to start anything and everything on a note of gratitude. And indeed, there's so much for us to be grateful for. Today, our speaker, Roberta, is a beautiful soul. And I first met Roberta at my university. She came in as a guest lecturer. And I thought being a guest lecturer, she was going to be extremely professional, extremely executive. There's going to be a huge barrier. But after the session, I realized that all she oozed in was authenticity, was brilliance, was that natural state of giving and loving and immense gratitude. And so it's my honor and privilege to all our participants here to officially welcome Roberta, our speaker for the day, who will be talking on compassion and the power of compassion. Let me read out her wonderful introduction to you. As a coach and trainer, Roberta has extensive experience with top management and executives in multicultural context, delivering executive and business coaching. She's also an ICF, accredited coaching course provider, a mentor and a supervisor in International Coaching Federation with accredited coaching courses in Italy, Middle East, and Asia. And she's also a regular speaker in international coaching and HR conferences. More than 10 years ago, in a difficult period in her life, she found coaching and she realized that her life, she wasn't living in an authentic manner. After her coaching degree, she decided to quit her job as an HR manager and to change her personal life, creating her own business. Her mission today is to help others to live the life they want to belong to and to find their inner motivation and balance among body, mind, and emotion. Absolute privilege and honor today, Roberta, to welcome you and officially hand over this session to you. To our audience, please remember that we're going to have a Q&A, and the session entirely is going to be extremely interactive because that's what Roberta stands for. So whenever she asks you a question, please feel free to type it in your chat box. At the same time, raise your hand so that our host will give you the unmute option. All right? Are you ready, Roberta?
I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Ciao. Ciao, hi everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I feel honored, happy, and I feel happy also because I want to share with you something, a topic which is really close to my heart, and the topic is self-compassion. Why did I choose this topic? Because let's say I'm not so young, so I'm differently young. While I was young in my life, I've been always harsh with myself. So I used to give to myself really severe and negative feedback. For example, one usual sentence that I used to tell to myself, well, but why are you doing this? Why did you accept to stay here at the conference? What are you going to share with these people? They are expecting from somebody who is really helpful. And during my growth, I realized that I really lacked self-compassion. And when I discovered self-compassion, my life completely changed. So I brought to my life more happiness, more well-being, more love, more self-empathy. And so this is why I chose this topic, and what you can expect from me today in this hour we are going to share together. You can expect that I'm going to share my personal experiences to help you to manage your experiences. You can expect from me coaching questions because I'm a coach and I love to, I'm really curious. And so I will ask you to practice and to reflect in a really experiential way. And also I will bring you also some theories and some theoretical inputs. First of all, the beautiful, in my opinion, theory of Christine Neff, which brought a lot of knowledge about self-compassion. And I will also add some tips from neuroscience, because what we are going to share today is based on science. So let's go. And whenever you want to speak after an activity, after a reflection, please put your hands up, and we are here to learn all together. I'm going to share my screen, and I will try yes, because I'm not a millennial, so please wait to be patient with my technological. I can do it. Yes, it is. It's here. And so I was sharing with you how my life was before I discovered self-compassion. But what exactly is self-compassion? Self-compassion is the ability to treat ourselves with the same kindness, love, empathy, listening, understanding, acceptance that we would use with others, with people that we love, for example, with our best friends. And I want to start with a practical activity. And so if you want, you can pick a situation, and you can also write notes. Pick a situation where your friends, your best friends, are going through a challenging period. They are struggling. They feel really bad about themselves. They made a mistake. They're having problems. So pick one of these situations that you met in your life. And what I'm asking also you to do, if you can think on how would you treat them in those challenges. And so write it down if you want. Which words would you use with them? So what would you say to your best friends who are in need? And which tone of voice would you use with them if they are in need and if they're really, really struggling? And which posture would you have with them while you're speaking to them if they are in need? And so reflect. If you want, I just want to say that you're completely free. This is a mindfulness conference, so we will be non-judgmental. So you can leave this webinar as you want. And so if you want, you can write it down, all these reflections. And after reflecting on your behavior while your friends are in need, I will ask you to pick another situation, to reflect on a situation when you are in need. Remember a time when you made a mistake, a big, big, big mistake, and you felt bad, and you were going through a challenge, a problem, and pick this situation and reflect. How would you treat yourself in that situation? And which words would you use with yourself if you really need help? And which tone of voice would you use with yourself if you're not feeling good? And write it down, write some notes, and reflect on your behavior towards yourself when you are facing a problem. And take your time to reflect. Take some minutes. And you can take notes. You can open a Word document in your laptop. And if you are like I was in the past, probably you will notice some differences on how you treat your best friends when they need your help and how you treat yourself when you are not feeling well. And if you notice a difference and you notice that you treat others with kindness while you use aggressivity with yourself, this is the case when you lack self-compassion. And there is a third step in this activity, and the third step is coaching. So you can bring what you already do with others and bring this behavior to yourself. And so you can ask now to yourself, what can I do differently to treat myself as I treat others? What, the next time I feel bad, what can I say differently to myself? And which tone of voice I can use with myself? And please, I would stop the sharing because I want to hear from you. So what are your reflection on this? If you notice some differences after this reflection, if you treat yourself in a harsh way compared to what you treat others, please let me know. And I would love to listen to you. For example, there is a new message. I have a question. No. I have something also before. Wow, many things. I want to make, Suana says, I want to make them feel I'm with them. Amazing, Suana. And Shafin says, with love and compassion. And first of all, I want to give them a huge hug and hear what they want to hear, Amina. So the interesting thing, Amina, you can ask to yourself, how many hugs do you offer to you? not only to your friends. With a smile, talk with me by looking into my own eyes. What the situation is, how to overcome. Wow, I'm the best friend of mine. You don't need to learn self-compassion. You can teach. I'm the best friend of mine, so I kept me and others with kindness, and I feel them. I'm with them for whatever be the situation is. This is a good example of self-compassion, this declaration of Shahana. I'm my best friend. And patiently listened to them and gave them what they need. And Saba has also a question. Nafisata, I will answer right away. I have a question. Generally speaking, why are we our worst critics? This is a great question. For example, when we look at our own pictures, listen to own voice recording, when it comes to parenting, we are very, very critical. What is the reason behind? So this is the first question. The second part is that a really bad thing to be critical. Doesn't that keep us on our tools to keep improving? Saba, I'm going to answer to you sharing a slide because I have the answer, maybe. I'm going to share the screen again. And one answer is this. You all know that we have so many voices in our head, and one of these voices is the, oh, sorry, not this. This is the slide that I want. So we have many voices in our head. We know that, many internal dialogues. And one of these voices is the critical voice of inner judge. Many theories, you can find the inner judge in many theories, from psychology to neuroscience. And you can also have many names for the inner judge. It can be called inner judge, inner critic, saboteur, superego, etc. But what neuroscientists discovered, that the role of the critical voice is in our head is to help us to survive. Not only physical surviving, but also psychological surviving. So what I want to say, that this level of criticism that we usually have with ourselves has a positive intention to help us to survive, to manage all the challenges, to face the difficulties, and to push us and to motivate us. So let's say the intention is good of everything we have in ourselves. And so the inner judge and the lack of self-compassion also have a positive intention, because the good intention of the inner judge, of our critical part, critical voice, negative feedback, is to push us and motivate us to succeed, to achieve our goals, to motivate, to exceed our limits, to survive in a challenging environment, because this part is really, really old. The negative side effect that, yes, we survive, but we also feel pain when we criticize ourselves. And so this is why we are here to discuss this. And so Saba, I hope that I answer to your question. Please let me know. And we are going to have later an interesting activity. I hope you will like it, with the inner judge. Now I will move on, because I want to offer you a mix between experience and theory. And I will go back to your questions and sharing after. What are the components of this theory? We have three components in self-compassion, three elements. And the first element is self-kindness. The second element, the second component is common humanity. And the third one is mindfulness. And this is also why I decided to bring self-compassion here today. What is self-kindness and how we can practice self-kindness? Let's start from what self-kindness is not. It's not self-pity to say, oh, Roberta, poor Roberta, oh, you made a mistake, oh, for you, I feel pity for you. No, 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 no. Self-kindness is not self-pity. Self-kindness is the ability to ask ourselves the right questions. And the first question we can ask to ourselves to practice self-kindness is one, and is, Roberta, what do you really, really need today? And how can I bring you, how can I help you to achieve what you need? So self-kindness is the ability that we have to analyze, to listen to our needs, and to provide us with what we need. Neuroscientists discovered that when we practice self-kindness and self-compassion, the motor cortex in our brain is activated. So compassion is not a passive thing. Compassion leads us to achieve goals and push us towards action. And this is really, really interesting. So it's not self-pity, it's not, it's not to take a bath, it's not to put a mask on my face, it's a different kind of self-care, is to ask to myself, but what do I need today to be happy, to be healthy, to be peaceful? And let's, Saba has her hands up. Saba, would you like to share with me, please? If you want. Or you can do it also later.
Good morning. Yeah, the host had to unmute me. Hi, thank you for answering that question. And I had my raised up from before when you were talking about the reflection part. You know, how would you treat a friend and then yourself? So that's when I raised my hand, if it's not too late. But thank you for answering that question about, intentionality. And so, but I was also like, to add to that, I was like, when we are in the similar situation, like if a friend is going through hard times, it's easy to comfort them and, hug them and listen to them. But it's so hard to forgive your own self. And, like you kind of internalize things and you're very, harsh to your own self. So I'm really hoping to learn self-compassion from today's session. So please keep going with your talk. Thank you.
Yes, I will. Saba, I will. And I completely agree with you. It's not easy for ourselves. We have another reason. Always neuroscience can help us to discover why we don't have self-compassion. We don't also have empathy for ourselves naturally, because empathy was developed to help others and to provide to the children of the different species. And so if we want to be empathetic towards ourselves, if we want to be compassionate, we need to practice. It's not natural for us. We need to learn, like you were saying, Saba. And well, let's practice. So we have another practice now, and maybe Saba, you can focus on this practice. We were saying before that the inner judge has a positive intention. So this internal dialogue is trying to help us to achieve our goals, is trying to motivate us. The dialogue is trying to keep us up, to exceed our limits, and to help us to survive. Usually, when we want to manage this dialogue, or what I used to do in the past, I was trying to push it down and say, be silent, please. I don't want you to speak. I don't allow you to speak anymore. And this was even worse. So what I suggest you to do, and this is what we are doing now, is to accept these parts and use gratitude like we were doing before. So what I invite you to do right now, and I will do the same because I need it also, is to write a message for our inner judge, inner critic, and to start from saying thank you. So I will say to my inner judge, thank you for helping me during all my life, to motivate me to exceed my limits, to be always present with your negative feedback, and to help me to grow. And you can use the words that are helpful for you. And you can also write to the judge a request and a way to negotiate. So, dear judge, please, thank you. And what I would love from you, if you the next time you come and bring me negative feedback, can you please do it with a different voice? Or can you please avoid to do like this? I will be really grateful. So let's say we can negotiate with this internal voice, starting from acceptance, because we recognize that these parts, like every part of our body, mind, and emotions, has a positive intention. And so we acknowledge the benefits that the judge brought to our life, and at the same time, we can ask what we want. So a different way of offering us negative feedback. And take your time, so take some minutes. I will write it down also what I want to say to my judge. She's a woman, my judge is a woman. She is really severe. Okay, and while you write, I will interrupt and I want to share with you some of the beautiful sharing that you wrote in the chat. Max says, once you start loving yourself, you won't be harsh on you. I completely agree. Trying to cope to become mentally peaceful. Yes, this is one of the purpose of self-compassion and self-love. Now, this is a different reflection, and I want to share with you. So Jay says, I treat myself softer than I treat others. So Jay, you should develop more compassion than self-compassion. Sua says, I console others while I don't try to listen to my excuses. I feel they are excuses just because of my laziness or will make me lazy. This is a good reflection. So we know that the positive intention of inner judge is to motivate us. So dear Sua, you can create a new agreement with your inner judge, keeping the purpose, motivating you, and changing the way. So becoming not harsh, but finding a kind way to motivate you. One more question. We all have best friends, but why people never thought themselves as best friends? Yes, dear Shahana. We don't do it often. And this is why we're here reflecting on this topic. Okay. Would you like to share some of the messages that you wrote to your inner judge? I will be more than happy, please. You can write or you can raise your hand. And here there is something. Thank you, inner judge. Be here and lead me to my best version. Wow, I love it, Muhammad. Thank you for everything you did, inner judge. Without you, my light of life would be not there and I will not be where I am now. This is amazing, lovely. And Saba says, I love it. Practice talking to your inner self and tell them to be gentle. Another message for the inner judge. Thank you, inner judge, to always be here. Thank you so much, inner judge, for giving me an opportunity to talk with you, be patient, and guide me to the real truth. Wow. Thank you, inner judge, for letting me not be lazy and be an active participant of this session. I like it. So the inner judge is attending the conference, from what I can understand. I just love it. Thank you, my inner judge, for letting me know about different lessons and for making me clear about my mistakes. Thank you very much. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I don't think you need me anymore. You are doing all by yourself. This is amazing. So let's move on to the second element of self-compassion. And thank you so much. I'm just loving this session and I'm also having much fun. The second element of self-compassion. So let's go back to theory. What is recognizing our common humanity? It's recognizing that we are imperfect and we all are leading imperfect lives. And this is, I'm not saying nothing new. The thing is that we often think this only from our cognitive point of view, but emotionally, when we feel pain, when we are in trouble, when we feel betrayed, we feel the only one in the world. We feel that we are isolated. We feel that we are alone when we feel really, really bad about ourselves. And so this is the second element. When we feel pain, we should feel that we are part of a common, beautiful, imperfect humanity. And this can help us to practice more self-compassion. So next time we will feel pain or we will make a mistake and we will feel alone and isolated, we should focus on how many imperfect human beings we can meet and we can hug. And the third element, we are here in this beautiful conference and the topic is mindfulness and meditation. So mindfulness is a vital element of self-compassion. And let's share with you why. Because when we struggle, when we feel pain, when we think we're not perfect, when we make mistakes, often we try to escape. Especially if you think about it, in this perfect world, when everybody needs to show, you know, how much am I clever, how much am I perfect, how much am I rich, what is my car? When we don't achieve the standards, the high standards that we want to achieve, we try to escape. We try to push away the pain. And this is not helpful for us at all. So mindfulness can help us to stay in the pain, because mindfulness is the ability to stay present in the moment in a non-judgmental approach. And so when we feel pain, when we feel negative, discomfortable emotions, what we need to do to stay there for a while, to accept, to observe, to stay present, and not to go away from ourselves, because otherwise we don't learn, we don't grow. We cannot love ourselves. So we need to stay mindful even why we are going through a challenge, through a pain, through a difficult period. And this is why mindfulness can help us a lot to practice self-compassion. And I have another small practice, and this practice is a small meditation, and it's a wish for you. This is what I want to wish to you, to be loving, to be kind with yourself. So you can close your eyes. I will do the same. And you can choose a comfortable position on your chair. And you can focus on your breathing. You can inhale and exhale. And you can focus on your breathing. And you can start repeating in your head a wish for yourself. And the wish is, may I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be healthy. And while you repeat those words, you can focus on each word and explore the meaning for you to be peaceful, to be happy, to be healthy. And you can focus on your breathing while you repeat those kind words in your mind. And if your mind will wander, you observe the other thoughts, you accept, and you go back to the breathing and to the meditation and to the wish. You can also change the words as you like. So may I be peaceful, may I be happy, may I be healthy. I wish we can stay like this for hours. Maybe we can, if we decide. And I will interrupt and check on you, on how you feel and how is it going. If you want to share how you feel and what you felt during the small meditation, please do it. And let's see, relax. May I be at peace. Wow, I love it that you wrote it. Amen. It was beautiful. I was so lost in the relaxing mood. I love it. Relaxing. I feel calmness and clarity. This is another benefit of what we are doing and of practicing self-compassion, clarity. I feel calmness. It was a beautiful feeling. Serenity, peace. I wish to continue. Me too. We can do it after. Inner sound from me. Wow, I love it, Anna. I felt an inner sound coming from me. Amazing. I love it. I feel very calm and I can hear my inner voice clearly. Oh, so you can speak with the inner judge more clearly now. That's good. Okay. Let's move forward. I felt quiet despite the noise around. Yes, when we are centered, we interpret the inputs that are outside in a different way. Let's move forward because I want to share something else with you and another small activity. Since the beginning of this presentation, I told you that all the things we are sharing are based on science. And neuroscience, so the study of our amazing brain, brought us some amazing tips on self-compassion. I'm bringing you the studies of Paul Gilbert. And Paul Gilbert is a neuroscientist, and what he discovered that when we criticize ourselves and when we practice self-compassion in our brain, two completely different systems are activated. So when we criticize ourselves, especially harsh criticism, the primitive part of our brain is activated. And so we produce cortisol and adrenaline, and we are in the fight or flight mood. And so amygdala, which is the part of the brain that detects threats, is there and saying, okay, you are criticizing yourself. There is something wrong. I'm active now. And she comes and pushes us to fight. We do with ourselves. The thing is this. So amygdala is on fire, but there is no enemy, no danger, and we become our enemy. And so we can become aggressive towards ourselves, or on the other side, we freeze. When in the past, I used to be really, really harsh with myself and telling really, really bad words, I used to freeze. I wasn't able to solve problems anymore because I was in a primitive mood. On the other side, when we practice self-compassion, what Gilbert discovered, that we activate the mammalian caregiving system. So the part of the brain that produces oxytocin. And you know, or for those of you that you know already, oxytocin is the cuddling and love hormone. So we produce it when we gave birth, and we produce oxytocin when we are in love and when we feel safe. So you can understand how much difference can be in our behavior if you activate two completely different patterns and network in our brain. And so this is why we also need to learn and practice and develop self-compassion, because we want to be at our best. And we are at our best when we feel safe. there are 3 triggers that can activate through our body self-compassion. So we can use internal dialogue, like we learned before. We can also use our body to trigger self-compassion. And we have 3 triggers. The first trigger is physical warmth. So they say when we are warm and I don't know, when I'm in bed and I'm sad and I put my cover on, I can, let's say, boost self-compassion. The second trigger is touch. And the third trigger is the voice. So the tone of voice that we use with ourselves can make the difference. And we are going to practice, and so I'm going to interrupt the sharing, an activity that is called supportive touch. So our purpose will be to boost a little bit of oxytocin in ourselves and through our supportive touch. So what I'm asking you to do, and I will do it also myself, if you feel comfortable, to put your hand on your chest, on your heart, not only one hand, but 2, and feel the warmth of your hands and stay there, feeling the beat of your heart. You can close your eyes and just feel the gentle, soft touch. If you don't feel comfortable in touching your chest, you can touch your arm. You can offer to yourself a gentle movement on your face, and you can offer to yourself, like this, a supportive, kind, warm touch. And feel the softness of your touch. And you are touching yourself or hugging yourself like you do with your loved ones. And you feel the beat of your heart, the life, your life, through your hands. And you can feel that your hands become warmer. Thanks, Aliza. Thank you so much. And we can repeat those small activities during the day. So we can, to wrap up, we can boost and practice self-compassion through our body during a a moment where we are really struggling, we can practice our supportive touch. We can use mindfulness to unleash all the power of our self-compassion. We can use dialogue, sharing different words with ourselves and learning to speak in a kind, compassionate, lovely way to ourselves. And we can recognize that we are imperfect like every human being. And self-compassion is really helpful. There are so many benefits. There are so many benefits. From a psychological point of view, we become more creative. We boost creativity, well-being, balance, emotional regulation. And we also become more compassionate with others. One thing that sometimes people share with me and after a self-compassion speech is, yeah, but it's selfish to do all those things. So we should be focused on others, not on ourselves. What I discovered in my experience and also in the experience of my coachees and students is that practicing self-compassion can also help us to practice compassion with others. Because if I become able to listen to my own needs and to provide care, kindness, love, empathy for myself, I can recognize the needs of others and I can communicate in a non-violent way, recognizing my needs and the needs of others. And I'm so curious, because I'm curious to see sleepy little, yes, I was going to sleep while I put my hand full of positive vibes now. And we decide whether to fight or flight. Absolutely, yes. This feels good. When we are stressed, we can ask our loved one to touch us, hug us, for sure. We produce oxytocin, even if we ask compassion from others. What I'm going to say that in this way, yes, we can ask to others, but it's so nice to ask a hug to ourselves. It's so nice. It feels so nice and so helpful. Okay, I think this can be a mode of self-love. I love me more now. Oh, I love it. Being me. And I think this is a much self-compassionate name, being me. I love it. It's an amazing feeling. I like the touch and the beat of my heart. Yes. And we feel grateful. I have to confess that I was going to cry, so I stopped because I was feeling love for myself, and I was telling to myself, yes, you are doing good. We can exercise it in the painful situation where nobody is there. Yes, Tuba, yes. Nobody is there for us, but we are there for us. We know that we are always there for us. I'm glad to know that now I can relax myself through myself without needing anyone. Yes, you can practice your supportive touch. And we are also using the power of science because we are in this way because we are producing oxytocin. We feel safe. We feel happy, we feel loved by ourselves. I love this, Saba. We can't give to others what we don't have. Now feeling like I'm loved, cared about myself. I love it. Wow, another sentence that great intimate union with the self. And this soft, kind touch on heart and face helping me to calm myself. So good, especially for people staying alone, to be kind. Many times, do you remember what happened during COVID, during pandemic? We need to learn to practice self-compassion during times of need and also during time of happiness. So, ready for the questions, because I was looking at the time, and time is flying. For me,
Absolutely.
it's flying.
They say time flies when you're having fun. So it was such a lovely session. And I read a comment where one of our participants had said, I feel absolutely soulful. And I cannot help but second that feeling. You know, we're all in different rooms in different parts of the world, but we're sitting here just touching our heart and feeling that collectiveness. Absolutely
Wow.
great for you, Roberta.
It's so powerful. And this is powerful only because you are putting your resources, your energy, your self-love and self-compassion. I can feel the energy. I'm amazed.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to shoot a couple of questions that we had in our chat earlier. And dear participants, if you have a question, please raise your hand and you can ask that right away here. Okay, so first question is, why are we experiencing lack of self-love when we are in a problem?
Also for physiological reasons, like we said before, because when we get into discomfortable emotion, when we have a problem, we interpret the reality, and our brain is trying to detect the threats, and we can jump into a survival mood, which has a positive intention, because when we are in a survival mood, we are trying to survive. What our brain doesn't understand, that the fight with my boss is not the fight with the big animal that I had in the caves, but the brain behaves in the same way. So this is why we don't practice self-love, because in that moment we are trying to survive and we are interpreting reality to face the challenges. But so we are using the primitive part of the brain. This is why we need to allow the supervisor of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, and jump in. And how the prefrontal cortex can jump in if we know how to manage our emotions, if we detach from the survival mood. And we can do it practicing also self-compassion and mindfulness. So when we are centered, when we are balanced, we interpret the inputs, the problems in a different way. And we can use all our emotional, cognitive, and physical resources. So this is why it's not natural for us. It's not inherited. It's not in our DNA, but we can learn. We can learn.
Absolutely. There's another question right here. How can we calm ourselves when we feel immense anger?
Sorry?
How can we calm ourselves? How can we calm ourselves when we feel immense anger?
Emotions are chemicals. So because we can't manage directly emotions, what we can do, we can use two patterns. Not two, there are many more, but what I use usually, there are at least two patterns. One is through the body, because the body is the theater of emotions. And so if I do something different with my body, for example, breathing, the level of anger will drop down. So I can use my body to manage my emotions. And the other way, I can use my language to translate these phenomena, which is chemical, into a translatable way, which is language. For example, a question that I ask to myself when I'm really, really angry is, what do I need? Because when we feel discomfortable emotions, there are needs that are not satisfied. And so we can translate emotions through language. This is not easy, so we need practice. And we need, first of all, to recognize the emotion. As soon as you recognize and you put a label on the emotion, you can be sure that already the prefrontal cortex is activating through language. So you can nominate the emotion, recognize it, and you can see that already the level is going down. And then you can ask yourself, what do I really need? What's the emotion is trying to tell me? Because every emotion has a message. And so if we become really good as translator, we can understand what the emotion is trying to tell. For example, anger usually is trying to tell us that something or somebody is offending our dignity. So it's not right, I'm angry. And so I have a need of equity, of dignity. How can I achieve, how can I fulfill this need? I can do it if I ask to this person, for example, how I want to be treated. And this is an example. So wrapping up, when we feel a high level of emotions, immediately we can do something with our body. And breathing is an amazing tool. So if you're breathing with your chest expanded and focus on the breathing, immediately your body will be an amazing ally to help you to manage your emotions. And then when the level is lower, you can ask to yourself, what's the message inside this emotion? What this emotion is trying to tell me? Anger came here to tell me something about myself, and I want to listen. So the first thing we need to do is not to suppress, not to reject, but to stay mindful. And this is when mindfulness can help us to stay in the present with the emotion, even if it's not comfortable. And then you start to translate. And anger is amazing. Can you imagine if you don't feel anger? Everybody could do with you whatever they want. They can offend you, they can beat you, they can treat you without dignity. Anger is amazing and is legitimate. What is not legitimate is the behavior. See, what you do with your anger is your freedom and is your power. So anger is great. What is not great? If I use my anger to be aggressive with others and with myself. So anger is an alert, a message trying to tell me, okay, I'm here and I want to tell you something, Roberta, please be careful. But what I do with my anger, this is my power. And I can choose what to do with my emotions.
Thank you very much. And I think it's really about listening to our body and befriending our body and the messages it gives. Powerful answer, Roberta. We have another very relevant question about teaching compassion to young children and teenage people in the teenage areas, and how can we mold them right from a young age?
This is an amazing question because, yes, I think we should teach, not only practice, but teach self-compassion. What we can do, we can be really careful about language. How we can detect a lack of self-compassion in children if we listen to their language. So harsh feedback, really severe or terrible words like I'm stupid, I'm not able. If we detect those words, we need to teach and help them to learn how to speak with themselves in a different way. because otherwise those words will become beliefs, and the beliefs will become mental models, and the mental models will become words and actions. And so we can fight, in my opinion, words through language. If we learn how to speak with ourselves and others in a peaceful, compassionate, loving way.
Thank you very much. And I think just like you said, how you talk to yourself really reflects on how you talk to your children as well. So just like you said, maybe beginning to teach compassion to your children, let's try and teach compassion to our own inner child, isn't it? There's another very interesting question. Why do we always consider ourselves to be imperfect than others? Also, to add on, how can we develop self-love? Are there any practices?
Using comparisons is also an approach that usually we inherited by our education. For example, I don't know about you, but in school in Italy, while I was a child, and also now the children of, I don't have children, but the children of my friends, we are evaluated by numbers. And so if I'm a 10 and she's 8, we start to feel comparison. In my opinion, this is also, we can help ourselves to compare less if we practice self-compassion, and instead of focusing on numbers, on achievement, we focus on the process. How am I growing, for example, as a human being? How am I developing my skills and resources? Focusing on our strengths can help us. And focusing on our goals instead of goals of others. But this is something I can find quite often, for example, in companies. What I can say that comparison activate the same old brain like criticism. It's the same network, so it's not so effective. And we need to remember that. It's not effective for us.
What we focus on grows, isn't it? So we focus on our positives and we nurture them forward. Yeah. Amazing. Someone said that the meditation feels like a magic now because they are showering themselves with love. And I think I'm sure that our participants will be curious to see how they can connect with you, Roberta, after this. And I'm sure you will be more than welcome. You'll be more than happy to connect with them on your Instagram, via your Instagram. And also to just add on, as a team here in Adrian Talks, every Sunday we've got what is called as a guided talk, where we have wisdoms like the ones Roberta shared, from our guide Adnan Hadi, and followed by a meditation. So we have a meditation first and foremost by our meditation coach, wherein we experience this beautiful self-love and gratitude and forgiveness, and that's followed by a talk. So it's a great way for all of us to start our weekends as well. So Roberta, I think now it's time to wind up. We have one more question, maybe if you can comment on that very quickly.
Sure.
Why do couples feel a communication gap as they move forward in life? Why do a couple feel communication gap as they move forward in life? I know it's not very directly tied to our topic, but if you can reflect on it.
It's more related to compassion for others, from what I can understand. This is a beautiful question, and really I could stay here for hours, I think. What I can share with you, what I find really effective to help teams or couples or individuals when they don't recognize their needs anymore is an amazing theory, which is nonviolent communication. And so I will suggest you to have a look at this beautiful theory of Rosenberg. And when we don't recognize others, is because we have different needs. This is my experience. And our needs and values change during times. And if we are not mindful in the relationship, After a few years, we discover somebody that has completely different needs, completely different values from the past. So what I can suggest is to check always. We check our car, we check our physical health, but we don't check our opinions, our needs, and our values. So like you check your car, check your opinions, values, and needs, and do the same with your husband or with your wife, with your loved one. Because maybe you can discover that something is changing and you can negotiate and communicate as soon as possible. But after a long time, we discover that maybe the person in front of us is a stranger. So we should check and ask, in my opinion, even simple questions. How do you feel? What do you need? And what can I do for you?
Amazing. Thank you very much, Roberta. Someone has asked if you're available on Facebook. Are you available on Facebook?
I'm available on Facebook, not really active, I have to say. I'm more active on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And it would be a pleasure to share my thoughts with you. I feel so grateful. You have been amazing, what you did. And also, I ask you to send me the chat because I think I want to cry a lot after reading the chat because it's beautiful.
The gratitude that's flowing your way from all of our hearts is immense, and I cannot put that in words. Just as a token of appreciation, we'd like to share a very, very tiny, humble certificate with you. We hope that it'll be a source of memory about this great gathering and all the value you've just added on to our lives. Thank you very much, Roberta. We'll have our...
thank you so much.
There you go. That's for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. We hope to stay in touch with you and continue learning from you as we move forward. Thank you for the service you've just paid forward towards humanity. And we wish you all the best as you move forward in your journey. So much gratitude, so much love coming your way. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you. And you've been amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
After an amazing session from Roberta, it is now time to move on to our next speaker. Okay, so let me just ask you, did you all really, really, really enjoy that session? Let's see that on your reaction buttons, please. Yes? Amazing. Amazing. So next up, we have another amazing person to share her insights with us. It is my privilege and honor to welcome my colleague, Lamia, who will be hosting the next session. Lami, if you're ready, I will hand over the session to you.
Yes, dear, I'm ready. Thank you so much.
Over to you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Myself, Lamia Mujib. I'm a mind coach, mentor, and mind power trainer who has been practicing mind power for last 6 years under ADN Talks and Guide ADN. I'm truly honored and feeling really grateful to become the MC of this session in our Metanoia International Conference on mindfulness and meditation. Like you guys, I'm so truly excited to hear some beautiful words and concepts from the upcoming session that we are going to have. I believe you guys gained a lot of wisdoms from the opening session from Roberta. With this session, we are going to make it into the next level. We have Dr. Nikita Islam for the second session of the day. She is an obstetrician, a gynecologist, and a holistic coach. She has been marvelous in her areas of expertise. She transitioned from conventional medicine as an obstetrician and gynecologist for 20 years. The holistic practitioner in 2020. From there, she is being a coach on mindfulness. She now coaches women in their perimenopause. Perimenopause is actually the time when you are in 40s and late 30s. That is marked by hormonal changes so much that you feel you have lost yourself. She works mainly through mainly connected the clients through faith-based approaches, nurturing and connecting mind, body, soul, focusing on mindset, diet, and lifestyle, and helping them to achieve healing from within. Dr. Nikita will be discussing some relevant facts and knowledge on the health benefits of mindfulness in the session for us. She'll be sharing her 20 years of experience as a hospital doctor, holistic trainer, and most importantly, her personal transformation from the rock bottom of her health to leading a hugely fulfilling and energetic life. She'll be sharing her own experience with the wisdoms and knowledges that makes her this session even more beautiful. So without any further talk, let me welcome the speaker of this session, Dr. Nikita Islam. Welcome, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Lamia, for that beautiful introduction. And I'm really humbled by what you said about me. I just got the last part of Roberta's lecture. I couldn't join in before, so I'm sure you really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping that I'll bring a very different perspective to the conference from my experience as a doctor, both in the conventional world and in the holistic world, my introduction to mindfulness, how it has helped me, and now how I help my clients through it. So without further ado, is it possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah, ma'am, sure you can.
Yeah, just one second. Can you all see?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am,
see?
it's perfect. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. Okay, so I'll just add on to a little bit to the introduction that Lamia has given about me. So as she said, I've practiced obstetrician as an obstetrician and gynecologist for over 20 years. I've practiced in the UK and abroad. I've lived in Saudi actually for 10 years. I had my own health struggles in 2020. So in 2020, I developed type 2 diabetes. I underwent a major surgery and really reached, as she said, rock bottom of my health. And from there, when you reach the very, very bottom, the only way is upwards, isn't it? So I started looking at other ways of healing myself because, you know, I did not want to live a life condemned to medication. And I went down lots of rabbit holes, you know, looking into holistic measures and seeing what I could do. The common denominator of all my health problems was unprecedented stress. I was in a lot of stress from my personal, life with my work-life balance, and lots of things were happening in my life. And really, I was not able to cope. I knew I was stressed. I was not aware of exactly what was causing it, but it had a very detrimental effect on my health. So after looking here and there, I finally found the College of Naturopathic Medicine, which is a very reputed institute in the UK, and I trained there as a health coach. I applied the principles of diet and lifestyle to myself first, and within a year, my diabetes was reversed. And this gave me, and not only was the diabetes reversed, I became my ideal body weight. I started looking younger, feeling more energetic, more focused, and I was just raring to go. And I thought, what a transformation. And I thought to myself, and I was in my perimenopausal years, I was in my 40s and, approaching 50 at that time. And I thought, when this has made such a huge difference to me, why don't I teach other women how to do this? And that is what fueled me into coaching perimenopausal women. And mindfulness and meditation was a very core principle because stress management is really, really important in today's day and age. And I feel so humbled that I've been able to help so many other women come out of problems, whatever they were facing, through really basic principles that, to be aware of the present moment. So just a second. So, I mean, mindfulness can be described in many different ways. So before I even start, let me just tell you the structure. I'm going to talk about what is mindfulness. I'll talk a little bit about the science behind. I'll talk about stress and its manifestations, diseases caused by stress, role of mindfulness in some diseases, and the future of mindfulness in healthcare. So this is going to be the sort of the structure of my talk. Now, many of you are mindfulness practitioners, and everybody would describe mindfulness in different ways. I prefer to keep it simple. I just think of it as paying attention to what is going on inside and outside ourselves, moment by moment. Using our 5 senses that we have been given by God, and using the sights and the sounds and the smells and the tastes, and really appreciating the present moment and staying in one time zone. So staying in the present doesn't mean that you don't think about the past or the future, but don't live in those 2 time zones. So stay in the present time zone. And that is really the key to happiness, the key to good health, the key to everything good in life. And this has been prescribed by everybody from a very, very long time. It's just we have lost it in our present day and age. It's so easy because we are bombarded with all this information that we stop noticing the world around us. And we lose touch with our bodies. We don't know how we feel anymore. We don't know how we think anymore, because we're just bombarded with all this information. And we end up just living in our heads. And we just caught up in our thoughts. And we just, and we don't realize how our thoughts is fueling our emotions and our behavior, and how over a period of time, disease develops. Now, when I was preparing this talk, obviously I looked at lots of studies because I wanted to sort of make you aware of what the scientific world says, especially as regard to physical and mental disease. And when I looked on PubMed, I mean, it was just bursting with studies on mindfulness and meditation. And I was surprised, actually. And it has really exploded in the last decade. And there is a lot of interest in mindfulness and meditation by conventional medical practitioners as well. And because they can really see the positive outcome it has on your overall health, overall wellness. The one thing that we are all aware of is that it improves the executive function. So if you're at workplace, because of the increased focus and the clarity and the attention, you tend to make fewer errors. And if you do make the errors, you're more emotionally accepting of it and able to move on rather than dwell on what has happened. And this actually improves efficiency and wellness. And no wonder that big companies like Amazon and Google have got wellness programs for the employees in which they have incorporated meditation and mindfulness. So it's not surprising at all. There is undisputed benefit of mindfulness in improving mental health. So in the world of psychiatry, especially for treatment of conditions like anxiety and depression, which again is a gift of our modern world, it is very accepted and very prevalent to prescribe as a social prescription mindfulness and meditation, which could be as an adjunct to the medication that people already are on, or sometimes to even replace and stop the medication that they're taking. What many may not be aware of is that mindfulness practices can actually improve your physical health as well. Now, I'll pause for a moment here and just talk about what health means to us. Our well-being is an intricate connection of physical, mental, and our spiritual well-being. It's not separate from each other. And if you look at all ancient forms of medicine, they never differentiated between these things. So if you go back, I mean, the earliest recorded form of medicine is the Ayurveda, which is 5,000 years old. And then you have Greek medicine, and then you have Chinese traditional medicine, and then you have prophetic and Islamic medicine. And all of them incorporated these 3 things, and it was never a problem. It was never that it was either this or that, or physical illness, mental illness, spiritual. It was all entwined, entangled together, and an imbalance in one would cause an imbalance in other. It's only modern medicine, which is, remember, this is only 150 years old. And I'm a practitioner of modern, conventional medicine, and I'm not discrediting it. There is a place for it. But it's only 150 years back that this connection has been taken away and it has become very compartmentalized. So physical health is different from mental health. Mental health is, well, spiritual health is not even there in the equation at all. And even physical health, it's really amazing. You would have, even the body has been segmented into parts. So a cardiologist is a heart specialist who looks after heart problems, and a pulmonologist is somebody who looks after lung problems. So if you were to have shortness of breath and you're not out of breath, and it could be because of a heart malfunction or a lung malfunction, you could potentially oscillate between a cardiologist and a pulmonologist till they figure out what is the problem. So you see, it should not be like this. It is not a dissociation. Our body systems all work together. Our minds work together with our body. And this is something which, yes, it was completely dissociated, but I think people are realizing the importance of this. And more conventional medical practitioners are coming back to this traditional way of practicing medicine. And this is really very optimistic. It's really, really something that is going to change in the next few years. And I'm very optimistic of that. So what is the science behind mindfulness? And I'm looking at one aspect of it. I'm looking at stress and stress-related diseases, which I'll be talking about. So as I already said, we are bombarded with all this information and all these 100 zillion things that we have to do in the day. And what that does is these all act as stressors. And the stressors stimulate an area in the brain, which is called the amygdala. And the amygdala, when it is stimulated, the prefrontal cortex is the area of our brain which is responsible for our executive function, for our critical thinking, for our making the right judgments, for analysis, for all of that. It's really what makes us intelligent and wise, and we come from a place of wisdom. But when the amygdala is stimulated, the prefrontal cortex doesn't do its job properly. So you make rash decisions, incorrect decisions. You react rather than respond. And mindfulness quietens the amygdala so that there are better, improved connections between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. And you start responding rather than reacting. You make better decisions. And generally, you're a wiser and a more intelligent person. And the intelligence is not just academic intelligence, it's emotional intelligence, social intelligence. It just helps you become a more well-rounded person who's able to function better in all aspects of life. So this is what mindfulness does, and this is how it works. Now, the next question to you is, are you stressed? I would like you to put in the chat just yes, if you are, if you feel you're stressed. Any kind of stress. Are you in any kind of going through any kind of mental stress, financial stress, emotional problems, relationship problems? I can't see the chat, Lamia, so you'll have to sort of update me. Are there any yeses?
Yes, ma'am. There's a lot of yeses.
A lot of yeses, okay. So according to the American Institute of Stress, about 33% of people report feeling extreme stress. 77% of people experience stress that affects their physical health. 73% of people have stress that impacts their mental health. 48% of people have trouble sleeping because of stress. You may ask, how do I know if I am stressed? And remember, I told you about my life in 2020 when I was going through a lot of stress and I had so many health problems. I was aware that I was stressed, but I did not actually pause to reflect. But some of the signs that may indicate that you're really stressed and you need to do something about it is if you've become very irritable, if you have a lot of anger outbursts, if you feel really overwhelmed, you're not able to do two things at the same time. If you feel very anxious and nervous and afraid, and you have these thoughts it's like a train racing through your mind and you can't seem to switch it off. You've lost the joy of life. You're unable to enjoy yourself. You feel depressed. You're uninterested in your surroundings. You've lost your sense of humor. You have this sense of dread that you always are afraid something really bad is going to happen. This pessimism and negative thoughts all the time. You're worried and tense. You feel very alone. in spite of people around you, you feel very lonely and you're unable to sleep. If these are symptoms that you are experiencing, it is likely that you're very stressed. You may not have identified what is causing you the stress, but it is very likely that you're very stressed. Some of the physical manifestations. So how if you are undergoing any kind of stress, how does it manifest in your body? So you may have difficulty breathing. You may be very short of breath. You may feel that, like you're just not able to breathe. You may have panic attacks. You may notice that you are not able to see properly. We already talked about sleep. You may not be able to sleep, or you may sleep but get up very early in the morning. You may feel exhausted. You're just not able to do anything. You may have aches and pains all over your body, and you just can't explain why you're having this. Some people have chest pains, and if you measure your blood pressure is really high. Lots of digestive problems, constipation, diarrhea, feeling sick, indigestion, heartburn. It makes you make wrong food choices. So you may either overeat, eat all the wrong kinds of food and put on weight, or you may lose weight. Either way, you may just not eat at all. So really, eating disorders. You may sort of develop rashes and hives on your skin. You may sweat. You may just break out in a sweat. Just you're standing and just break out in a sweat. If for women, there may be changes in your menstrual cycle. Some women are not able to conceive if they're stressed. And one of the social prescriptions is go on a holiday. So, if you see a couple and they've been married for a while, and, there has not been any pregnancy, the doctor would sometimes say, go away on a holiday. What is it doing? There may be marital stress. There may be stress in the family home from an extended family. And what the aim is to get out of the stressful period. And it works. It absolutely works without any medication. Because as the stress goes away, your hormone starts functioning better. You're able to ovulate and conceive. If you have any existing physical conditions like arthritis, you may see that that's getting worse. So these are all the physical manifestations, your bodily manifestations of stress. Again, just so that I know that you've not gone to sleep, would you put in the chat, which of these are you experiencing? Which one of these? Just say either difficulty breathing, low energy, whatever it is. Just put in the chat so that I know that you are with me. So are people really shy to answer? I'm sure many people must be having lots of these things going on in their life. Anyway, so we'll move on. So these were just some of the data from mind.org.uk. Again, coming back to the same thing, stress affects your body. We already talked a lot about that. It can affect your mood. It can cause anxiety, restlessness, lack of focus. You may find you're really irritable, anger, sadness, depression. And that can fuel behavioral problems. So you may have, people can go into substance abuse, eating disorders, physical inactivity, social withdrawal. You may just withdraw from friends and family. And that can have, again, a very detrimental effect on your mind and your body. So stress can basically play havoc in your life. So short-term stress, even in today's day and age, is beneficial. So for instance, you woke up late, you needed to get to work, you have 10 minutes to get ready. Your stress hormones go into action. So there's two small glands called adrenal glands on top of your kidneys, which secrete the hormones cortisol and adrenaline and noradrenaline. And this puts you in a fight or flight mode. So you can do 10 things in the space of 10 minutes. So you can get dressed and, have a quick breakfast and tidy up the house. And, maybe if you've got children, if you're a woman, you've got children, you can get your children ready and you're done in 10 minutes. And that kind of a stress is actually advantageous, because if you didn't have that adrenaline rush, you would not be able to do all those things. But that adrenaline rush needs to stop. So you can have that 10-minute rush, but that needs to stop. We need to be in a relaxed state most of the time. But for most of us, this stress continues. It can continue throughout the day. It can continue for days. It can continue for weeks because of our modern lifestyle. And what it does is it keeps these hormones always raised, so cortisol and adrenaline and noradrenaline. This can raise your blood sugars. This can raise your blood pressure, your heart rate, you start breathing very fast. And all of this, if it continues in the long term, it may cause heart disease, it may cause stroke, it may cause diabetes, it may cause high blood pressure or hypertension, and gut issues like irritable bowel syndrome. I've just named a few, some of the important ones. There are so many others. Is mindfulness a promising alternative to medication? This is my question to you. 60 to 80% of visits to the primary care physician, so your general practitioner or your doctor that you go to, is because of stress-related symptoms. This, for an individual, if you start having these symptoms, from having these symptoms for disease to develop, for diabetes to develop, or high blood pressure to develop, or heart disease to develop, it can take a few years. And what would be most beneficial is to catch it at that time and make sure that you manage your stress in a good way. And mindfulness is just one of the ways of managing stress. I'm not saying this is the only way. There are many ways of managing stress, but definitely mindfulness is one of them. It could potentially stop the hospital visits. It could potentially decrease the cost of medication. So for the healthcare system as a whole, so I live in the UK, and the NHS is it is a national health system which is free for everybody. But then, money goes into it, the taxpayers' money goes into it. And most of the diseases that you see in hospitals are actually related to stress. So what if we could catch the stress in the early stages and stop the development of disease? This would be the ideal scenario. This would be the best thing that could happen. And is it possible? Yes, there needs to be raised awareness. And one of the conferences that, the organizers, I congratulate you on organizing this conference, because this is what is needed to bring awareness. Many people are not aware of it. And the first step is actually increasing awareness. So coming on to individual diseases. And what is the evidence? What are the studies that have been done on meditation and mindfulness and these interventions, and how can it affect these diseases? Now, cardiovascular disease, or simply put, heart disease, is the leading cause of death worldwide. How many of you have relatives, family members who have passed away from a heart attack? Many of you, I'm sure. Now, meditation-based interventions has been shown to reduce blood sugar, blood pressure, and obesity. So diabetes and hypertension and obesity are risk factors for you to develop heart disease. So if you practice mindfulness-based interventions, you're likely to be able to control your sugars, you're likely to reduce your blood pressure, and you're likely to make sensible choices about food and exercise, which will help with obesity. So as an indirect result of controlling these risk factors, your risk of heart disease will go down. Preliminary research has shown that blood pressure decreases following mindfulness training because of mindful attention and decreased sort of ruminating thoughts. So there have been lots of studies. I have not quoted the studies here because it will just become too crowded, but any of you who's interested, I'm more than happy to share it. Diabetes, this is my sort of favorite topic, let's put it that way, because I developed type 2 diabetes when I was going through whatever in 2020. And as a result of lots of the changes that I made, the diabetes was reversed in a year. And just on the side, I have a diabetes reversal program for perimenopausal women in which I teach them holistic measures of how to reverse the diabetes, to get rid of the medication. And one of the modules that I teach is mindfulness and meditation. So it is very much part of holistic care to improve your health. Now, the diabetes is a lifestyle disease. I know there's a genetic component to it. So if your parents are diabetic, you're more likely to become diabetic. But does everybody in your family become diabetic? Absolutely not, isn't it? So there is a big lifestyle element to it, which we sort of tend to neglect. We tend to think, oh, I've just developed diabetes because my father was diabetic. And that's not true. There's always something you can do about it. Now, just to show you why it is a lifestyle disease and how much of an impact lifestyle has had. So in 1980, the number of people in the world with diabetes was 108 million. This is statistics from the World Health Organization. By 2014, it had become 4 times. It was 422 million. In 2019, diabetes and kidney disease due to diabetes caused an estimated 2 million deaths. So what does mindfulness have to do with diabetes? There have been lots of studies where they've seen that the blood sugar control is improved. Even people who had diabetes and they developed nerve problems and pain, that improved by practicing mindfulness. But basically, mindfulness increases your self-awareness. You're able to make, so you're not eating on the go without thinking. You're actually thinking what you're eating. You're making more intelligent food choices. You're making more intelligent exercise or movement choices. And all of that adds up, and you're decreasing your stress levels. So all your stress hormones are coming down. And all of this cumulatively has an effect on effective blood sugar control. So it's really, really effective as part of a holistic care in the control of diabetes. So now, many of you may be familiar with maybe some elderly relatives who are always in pain. So, you ask them, how are you? And they say, oh, I'm in pain, So they have probably what is called fibromyalgia, which is a condition in which you're chronically always in pain. Or some people may have, arthritis. Sorry, just 1 second, my screen is gone. So some people may have arthritis, and this again can cause, people to be in pain all the time. It is very debilitating. You're not able to carry on your normal activities. It can make you feel very depressed. And many of these people will be on very strong painkillers, so on medication, and the medications have the side effects. It's been seen in many, many studies that mindfulness-based interventions improves depression, helps them cope better, and they're more accepting of the pain, so even if the pain is there. Now, I just want to pause for a moment and talk to you a little bit about pain. Pain is a perception. So if your blood sugar is raised, you can have a blood test, and there is a very objective number which comes up that you can see, your doctor can see, and you can see that your blood sugar is raised. Similarly, if your blood pressure is raised, there is an instrument which can measure the blood pressure, and you have a number, a very objective number that comes up that you can see and your doctor can see, and you know exactly what your blood pressure is. But is there a meter to measure pain? There is no meter to measure pain. So as a doctor, when I would see people in pain, I would ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no pain and 10 being a lot of pain, where is your pain? And they would say, well, it is 2, I'm just feeling a little bit of pain. Or they would say 10, I can't cope with it. So I'm not saying pain is not real. Pain is definitely very real, but it is a perception. And mindfulness-based interventions can change the neural network in such a way that you're able to cope with pain better, and the perception of your pain decreases. And this has got huge benefits and a huge role in these kind of conditions. Then this is my last bit. I don't want to bore you with too many diseases. What I want to show you is that, mindfulness-based interventions have got a role to play in disease that has already developed and also in the prevention of disease. So you may have heard of people with Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis. These are diseases in which the nerves are involved, and these people may have problem doing certain activities. They may have a lot of pain. They're not able to perform their daily activities, and generally they're dependent on people, and that makes them very depressed and have low self-esteem and all of that. They feel very tired all the time. Now, again, there have been lots of studies which have shown that mindfulness-based interventions can improve sleep in these people. They're not able to sleep many times. Their energy levels increase, and again, they're able to tolerate pain better. Just making you think again. energy, one of the main things of well-being, in my opinion, is how much energy you have. When you have energy, you're able to do so much. You're able to get so much done, and with so much of enthusiasm and vigor, and it's so infectious. When you are energetic, everybody around you is energetic. But can you measure energy? Not really. There is no meter to measure energy. Again, I would ask you, how energetic are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? But you would notice that life seems really beautiful when you have a lot of energy. And again, energy is very subjective. And by working on mindfulness and meditation, by improving your neuronal connections, the way you think, you actually can have more physical energy. Because again, the mind, body, spirit, everything is linked together. So this is something that I want you to sort of think about and look at your energy levels. If you're feeling very low, and if you're feeling not yourself, ask yourself, how energetic am I feeling? And generally you would notice that your moods and energy is very related. The days you're feeling very energetic is the day that you're in very good moods as well. So just to show you how everything is connected. Then coming to some things like irritable bowel syndrome, where, like you have sort of pain immediately after you eat, or you tend to have a lot of diarrhea, constipation. It is very clearly related to stress, and it is also what is called psychosomatic illnesses, mind, body, which even conventional medicine practitioners have recognized that. And really to quieten the chaotic mind, by mindfulness and meditation-based practices, it really helps in irritable bowel syndrome. But I would like to say that before anything actually happens, you must believe that it will happen. So you must have that belief before you practice something, that this is going to work for you. The positive mindset. This is really important before you embark on anything new. Research it thoroughly, find out more about it, and then when you start practicing it, believe in your heart that it's going to work, and that's when it's going to work. So coming to, what does the future of mindfulness-based interventions in healthcare look like? What is it going to be? And how does mindfulness and meditation-based interventions fit into conventional medical care? Because this is the conventional. I know there are lots of holistic practitioners, but when we have a serious illness, the only person we trust is a conventional doctor. That's where you would go and you would ask them, doctor, what should I do? I'm having this problem. The medical world is moving more and more towards integrated care, where we recognize the association between mental, behavioral, physical, spiritual health. And I say so as somebody who has transitioned from conventional to holistic care, and I'm not the only one. So when I first made this transition, I thought, oh my God, where am I? Where am I in this space? And then I found my community. I found so many doctors who had made this transition. Even if they hadn't left conventional medicine, they were integrating holistic approaches in their method of treatment. And I think there is, in the years to come, we will see a lot of these interventions in conventional medical care. It is going to improve health outcomes. So it will decrease the need for medication, harmful medication, which has got a lot of side effects, the cost of medication, the cost of doctor visits, all of that will go down. It will improve both the patient satisfaction and the doctor satisfaction, because no doctor wants to give you harmful medications which is going to have side effects. So if there are simple measures like this, which is actually going to have a huge effect, there will be more and more social prescription. There will be more and more prescription of these kind of interventions. And this is what I think is going to happen in the next few years. And mindfulness could become a very core component of the integrated management of health. The place that I think we really need to focus is the primary healthcare. So in the UK where I live, or other places they may call it differently, is the general practitioners or the community health center, where when you start experiencing you don't straight away go to a specialist, do you? You first go to a doctor, a general practitioner, and say, oh, look, I'm really having these headaches all the time, or I'm just having constipation all the time. My tummy doesn't feel right. Your doctor is your first point of contact. And this is where the change needs to take place. So instead of giving them strong medication and prescribing a whole list of medication, you're a better doctor if you prescribe more medication, that mindset has to change. And we have to realize that these simple measures have the most impact. Most of the stress-related problems go to the primary and the community health settings. And this provides a huge challenge and a huge opportunity for people to come together, for academic researchers with all their research papers showing the evidence of mindfulness, collaborate with the patients, with the community leaders, with the community-based organizations, with the health centers, with mindfulness practitioners. Put all your information together and really promote the uptake of these practices when people first present with stress-related symptoms. And that way, you can sort it out at the root, and it doesn't have to go down the route of heart disease. It doesn't have to go down the route of diabetes. It doesn't have to go down the route of high blood pressure. So you know what I'm saying? This is where the most effective change will come. And this is my humble opinion. This is what I think is what needs to be done. The other thing is accessibility. Now, some of the people who really need these services may not have them available. So if you planned a 2-hour meditation-based workshop in a community center, a person who is in chronic pain may not be able to get to the center, may not be able to sit there for 2 hours. Somebody who is suffering from something simple like irritable bowel syndrome, like every time they eat, they need to rush to the toilet, or they have so much of pain that they can't sit. They're not going to be able to go and sit for 2 hours in a community center. And that's why, thanks to COVID, the online world has opened up so much, and there is so much of online delivery of these practices. And this is something that I think we are going to see a marked increase of. There is not going to be, of course, a community, a face-to-face community has got huge benefits, because you make connections and you see people with similar problems and you're able to motivate each other. And that's really hugely useful. But because of limitations, I think the online delivery of these services has to increase. And this is the way forward. And I feel that the healthcare is, even the modern healthcare system is going to incorporate lots of these meditation practices as part of the integrated care. And we're going to see lots of changes. This is what I feel in the next few years. So this was all that I had to say. There are lots of very motivational quotes about mindfulness, but I'd like to leave you with 2. This is a principle that if we adopt, I think we'll be happy and less stressed. So be where you are, not where you think you should be. We are always striving for the next thing. We are next thing all the time, next thing all the time. But if you're just where I may not want to be here, I may want to do certain different things and be in a different place. But if you believe in God, God has put you in this situation for a reason, and this place is best for you. And once we internalize that and have that contentment, that whatever situation I am in, it could have been worse, but this is best for me because of reasons that I don't understand, and I don't understand, the whole, what's going to happen, and, we don't know the unseen. If we have that conviction in us, it'll make us less stressed no matter what is happening around us. It'll give calm to our chaotic mind. And mindfulness is a great tool to help you really internalize that. And as a health coach, I would say the body benefits from movement. So keep moving. That's the most important thing that you can do for your body. If you want a healthy body, keep moving. Make sure you keep moving. But if you want to have a healthy mind, the mind benefits from stillness. So practice some form of stillness and move your body. And I hope you'll have really good health. And here's to get good health to all of you. And that's all I had to say. And thank you for listening, and thank you for staying with me. I would be very happy to take any questions if anybody had any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Nikita ma'am, for a very thoughtful session which beautifully conveyed the importance of mindfulness practices in improving our physical and mental and spiritual health. So now you can ask any questions to Nikita ma'am. She is ready to answer you. You can hand raise or put in the chat box.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I can see that now. So yeah, for all the thank yous. Thank you very much for staying with me and listening, and I hope it benefited. So Salim says, what is a way to increase a low pulse rate? Is there any relationship with mindfulness? Generally, mindfulness quietens the mind. So we talked about the stresses and how when you have the stress response, it sort of increases the heart rate. And generally what I would say is it activates what is the parasympathetic. I don't want to get into too much of medical jargon, but it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which actually lowers the heart rate. Yes, so this is what I would say. If you have a low pulse rate, it depends on how, and obviously it's not a medical advice at all. If you have a very low pulse rate, you need to go and see your doctor and, need to get relevant advice from that. Wouldn't be able to advise.
Ma'am, someone raised hand, so I'll unmute them.
Yeah, go on, please.
Nisha, you can talk now. Hello, Nisha, you can unmute now.
Okay, there was one question that I lost somewhere. Just let me go back to that. If you already have diabetes, so Asma says, if you already have diabetes, can mindfulness help? And then how do we do it? Yes, Asma, it can help. Because as I said, stress is a component in all our lives. We just need to become more self-aware and, just look at how we're feeling. And that's why I listed all the different symptoms and things that you may be experiencing to realize that you have stress. I'll just answer that, yeah? Asma's question. If you have diabetes already, obviously you need to focus on your diet and your exercise routine. But for me, I feel it's a holistic approach because, you cannot stick to certain eating habits by willpower alone. You have to sort of change your mindset around it. And I do not believe in one of those, quick fix diets. You go on a diet for 6 weeks and you lose weight and you'll just put it back on. There is actually a study which says that 95% of people who go on a diet, within 2 years, they put back the weight, put on the weight. They may lose the weight at that time when they go on a program, but they put it back on again. So I don't believe in those kind of things. You really need to sort of really have that internal dialogue with yourself and really calm yourself, make intelligent choices and make that a habit. And that is what I think really works. And that's, the reversal program that I have. That is how we focus. We focus on habits rather than crash diets. That anybody can do. Yes. Nisha.
Nisha, you can talk now.
Yeah, hi, ma'am. Thank you so much for that eye-opening session. When you were going through the symptoms, I felt like you're talking about me because it's hardly. So only one thing, see, the fall in eyesight, is that a part of stress? Isn't that part of aging when you're in your 40s? How does it connect with?
Yes, of course. What I mean is sometimes if you're really stressed, you may have had those moments, that you just don't know what's happening. You may feel that your vision has become blurred just for that period of time. Obviously, if your eyesight is not good, you need to go to an ophthalmologist and get it checked out. It's with aging and things like that. What I meant was if you're going through a panic attack, you're just feeling very hot and sweaty, you might notice that you can't see very well. That's what I meant. So just to take that.
I have an additional question with that. So in that quest of finding what is the exact thing that's going to work for you, I've gone through a lot of things, and I'm yet to, when I think I've graduated to a certain level, something else would come up. So it's life, right? So my only question is this: how much of this is adaptable as a practice? Because I really want that person who I want to stop being and start doing. There are so many things that is being promised by multiple systems, which is not working for me at this point in time, because I'm not able to stick to that routine of doing something in a proper practicing manner. So in that aspect, what is the contribution mindfulness or meditation can subconsciously program is what I would like to check with you.
So meditation and mindfulness, it basically improves your self-awareness. It improves your self-awareness, and it basically quietens the noise in your life, because when you, so for instance, if you're going on a diet, I don't know what your problems are, but for instance, somebody wants to go on a diet, yeah? So they just have this diet in front of them and do it. So, I actually would beg to differ with you, Nisha. It's about being rather than doing. It's about being rather than doing. So because you're focusing so much on the doing, then the being is not coming in. That's not falling in place. So you have to become that person before you do those things. I don't know if that makes sense, because to actually visualize and to actually internalize that this is how, and even sort of goal setting in a very how it has to be it doesn't have to be that, oh, I'm going to eat this today. It's not about today. It's about habit forming. It's about goal setting. It is about visualization. It's about being able to look at what you're going to be in the next 6 months, not what you're going to do. The doing will come after the being, So it's difficult. It's a very not complicated. It's a very deep question. I don't think I can sort of really do justice to it in this short time. But yeah, I mean, these are the things sort of you need to look at, because don't look for the next thing that I need to do. Just sort of sit back. And one thing I would advise you, journaling really helps. Journaling really helps, to just see your goal, where you want to be and how, so first, what are you going to be? So if you want to be in better health, what is that better health going to look like? What is it going to allow you to do? What are the things that you can't do today and you'll be able to do if you are in that health? What are your relationships going to be like? Spiritually, where are you going to be? So all of that, whatever is important to you, there's different things which are different. So once you connect with the being, what are you going to become? Then the doing becomes easier, because then you have that focus in mind. Then you already have that Nisha in 6 months, you already have her in mind. And then it becomes easier. Then it doesn't become a chore. It doesn't become a burden. It becomes very normal. It becomes very normal to make the healthier choices. It becomes okay to say no to the crisps. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm so tempted. I really want to eat that, and I'm stopping myself. The willpower will only last for some time, isn't it? So I hope that helps.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So next, moving to Aslam. You can unmute now.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. Excellent talk. A quick question is, do you offer any online holistic health practice programs or some kind of a training for various aspects?
I do online training. This is what I do. I do it only online, actually, health coaching. I coach only women, brother.
Oh, okay.
So that's just a personal preference, yeah. Because I work very closely with my clients, So
got it.
It just makes it easier for me to really relate to them,
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Wonderful talk.
Thank you. Then Gita Sri, you can see.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much, ma'am, for the lovely presentation. And I want to share my gratitude to Adian Talks also for providing us with this session. So for today, I have one question that is I usually feel mentally exhausted, and sometimes as told by Nisha ma'am, that sometimes having a little bit blurry sensation in our eyes, and I sometimes feel that it is because of stress, but I want to know that if it is because of stress, or is there any underlying reason that can cause that too.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Now, when I say that these symptoms cause stress, it doesn't mean that you say, oh, I'm tired, it must be stress. No, you go to your doctor, and that is, conventional medicine is really good at diagnosing. So the fatigue could be because of some hormone levels. For instance, I'll just give an example, not that you have it. Your thyroid may be underactive, okay? For some people, I can't see you, but if you're young, I mean, it's not so much relevant to you. But if for somebody who's older, they may have developed diabetes, and that's why they're feeling very fatigued. So don't make a self-diagnosis of stress. That is why I said that when you get these symptoms, the first thing is you go to your doctor. They will run some tests. If all the tests come back as normal, and then you can sort of self-evaluate and say that, okay, I must be very stressed. And that's why at this point of time, when you go to your doctor, what will happen? They'll say, all your tests is normal, go back. But they don't address the problem that you're having, the stress that you're having. And this is what you need to sort of, at this point of time, you'll need to figure out yourself and then, do the measures that you need to do for stress management.
Okay, ma'am. So like first I need to ask, tell all the symptoms to my doctor, and
Yes.
so that after the diagnostic I can take
Yes.
that like if he is going to prescribe something, or I should like follow with
Yeah.
self-diagnosis and then meditation, mindfulness and also to reduce my stress level if it's happening of that.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad you asked these questions. The symptoms that I put up, chest pain and palpitations and all of that, these are very serious symptoms. They could be actually underlying heart disease, isn't it? So don't self-diagnose yourself with stress. Go to your doctor, get whatever tests you need to do. Once they've said everything is normal and there's nothing going on, at that point of time, you can attribute it to stress and then practice whatever, and just try and figure out what's happening with you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you. Then let's move to Mahmood. Dr. Mohammed, you can unmute now. Are you there?
I'm there. Hello. Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Nikita Islam. It was a wonderful presentation, and thank you so much for your openness. And my just question is one simple question: as your as a health coach, and especially you're practicing in UK.
Yeah.
Now in this fast-moving world, all are concentrated on multitasking and all those things. So how practical it is this keeping mindfulness, and what was the feedback from your fellow colleagues and the fellow beings in UK especially? How did you felt it initially to cope up with?
I cannot even tell you. And I'm so happy you asked this question. So it gives me a chance to share my experience. I told you I was going through a lot of stress in 2020, and with all the problems and the stress of, as a working woman and at home, and so many problems were going on. And I actually learned meditation and mindfulness for 8 weeks under a coach. And that did my situation change? Nothing changed. Things are as bad. If you look at whatever the problems are, they're as bad. Okay. Now, I'm not saying being ungrateful. I'm just saying that, the situation hasn't changed. But have I changed? I can respond in a much better way. I can be, if something really, a very triggering kind of conversation occurs, there was a time I would get so upset. And now I can just sit and think that, okay, so how should I respond to this and not react? So it really quietens your mind. It has improved my focus so much. I'm able to do so many things. I've learned so many new things, because obviously, as you know, online coaching is a completely different world to my hospital doctor world. I've learned so many new things. It gives me so much of clarity, and my energy levels, I cannot, and I'm not only attributing it to this, obviously, because of the awareness that I've developed through mindfulness and meditation, I have made better choices with my diet and my lifestyle. So all of that has helped together. Now, I won't say it is just mindfulness. It just makes you more self-aware. That's what I would say. And it has helped me a lot. It helps my clients a lot. So I actually have great regard for it. And if you actually Google, you're from the medical fraternity, if you just Google on the studies, there are just so many, many, many studies out there. And as I told you, as I mentioned, big companies like Amazon, Google, they realize the value of this mindfulness in wellness of a person, because wellness is not absence of disease. It is, how you feel in your body, how in your mind, in your spiritual health, all of that is wellness, not just absence of disease. So it has got huge benefits.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Beautiful. Then moving to Sharfa, you can unmute now.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah. It was really very good listening to your talk. Alhamdulillah. I just wanted to know whether mindfulness, does it help in insomnia, like sleeplessness? I'm going through that because, perimenopausal, I'm 50. And is there any hope that, sleeplessness can be cured without medication, with mindfulness and meditation, as you are saying?
I don't think I would go so far to say that mindfulness meditation is a cure to any disease. I will not go. I have not said that, and I will not say that. It can be an adjunct to other things. Now, if you're in your perimenopausal years, you obviously have hormonal imbalances. Yeah, and that is causing you to not be able to sleep or whatever is happening with you. And stress, I talked about that it raises cortisol, and cortisol upsets all the other hormones. So yes, it will help in that way. Okay. It will calm your mind. It'll help with the cortisol coming down. But one of the other, I'm sorry, I'm deviating a little bit just to answer your question. In the perimenopausal years, your progesterone, which is one of your female hormones, that declines. And this is the main reason for not being able to sleep. So you may have to work on diet and lifestyle measures, which will increase your progesterone. So yes, it will help. Definitely it'll help by practicing mindfulness and meditation. It'll quiet your mind, it'll calm you, but you may have to do other things to, to help with the insomnia as well. So this may not be the only thing.
Changes and diet?
Yes. Diet and lifestyle changes along with, my meditation. And this is also a diet and lifestyle change, isn't it? So
lifestyle
all of it.
As such, can you suggest some tips, ma'am?
Okay. One of the things is because progesterone is your calming hormone. I don't want to take up too much time because there are other people waiting. Progesterone is your calming hormone. Yes. So you tend to get very anxious, and one of the things that you can do, a practical tip, I would say, is put away your phone. So at least 2 hours before you sleep. Okay. So because, the blue light, it interferes with the formation of melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. Okay. Also, if you're worrying about things, have a habit of writing a to-do list or a diary so that, you put all your worries on paper. Okay. So it's like a brain dump. Okay. So these are just some of the tips. And I'm sorry, Sharfa, I think we'll have to move on because there are other people waiting. So, I could talk to you forever because this is my favorite topic, but, I don't think I'll be able to do it now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Then moving to Shari. You can unmute now. Please unmute.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Doctor. It was a beautiful session. I think most of my questions were answered by the others' questions. You had answered it properly. Actually, the stress, I am very stressful patient. I can say that I'm a patient for a long time, and recently now gone to cancer even, all because of stress, mental stress, which has come to showing in the physical active. I mean, I think a few years back, I even paralytic attack, everything I've crossed. And recently, very recently now, I've become diabetic too. So I would be interested if you could give me the diabetic reversal program. I know that mind really controls your body. So mindfulness, I'm really interested in that. For a few years, I was in search of something like this. Okay, so my question is, one thing is diabetic reversal. Second is meditation. Many doctors have tried, psychologists have tried meditation for me, but it doesn't affect on me. Meditation, hypnotism, that doesn't affect. What they say is it's a very highly stressed body. So my body is not reacting to it. So for such a body, will this mindfulness program affect?
Well, the program that I have is not just about mindfulness. That is just one of the modules. So the diabetes reversal program is focusing on everything, on your diet, on your exercise. See, the best thing would be, if you're interested in the diabetes reversal program, I don't know, Lamia, is it possible? You could connect with me on, I think they've shared my Instagram handle. I've got a website as well. And I've got a WhatsApp number there. So you could get in touch with me on the, I'll just put my website here. Okay. There is the diabetes reversal program is not there because I do that with another sister. So, oh God, just one second.
Ma'am, we are shared in chat box.
Have you? Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, just get in touch. There's a WhatsApp number there. I normally don't answer there, but I wouldn't answer a call. But if you message me, I'll get back to you, and I'll share the details.
WhatsApp number, I think I got only the link. I didn't get a WhatsApp number.
No, the WhatsApp number is on the website. It's on the website.
Okay. I didn't open that yet because I'm talking to you. I didn't want to disturb you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, of course, I'll see that later. Yeah, so your class, so how is it that even the diabetic program, everything, you'll be taking it?
Yeah, so it's a 12-week program. We have just started last week, but anybody can join at any time. It's an evergreen, so anybody can join at any time. So yeah, have a chat with me on WhatsApp, and then give you more details.
Yes, inshallah.
Where are you based? India?
Qatar.
Qatar. Okay. Yeah. Have a chat with me, and then I'll.
Yes, you would be from.
I live in the UK.
UK. Yeah. In the introduction to us, like I said, everything skips off. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. And yeah, Jazakallah khair. It was really good. Beautiful session. I will. Inshallah. Yes. Surely. Yeah. Thank you.
Fatima. Yeah.
Yeah, Fatima, you can unmute now.
Yeah, hello. Sorry, I cannot come on video mode.
Okay.
Some problem with and as most of my questions have answered actually. Actually, I was very much wondering, when you said the relation between this eyesight and the stress. I myself is a doctor anesthesiologist, and for the past couple of months, I'm totally stressed. As you said, working women, it's not very easy, right? And with three children and a busy work, so I was completely stressed out. And past 2 months, I think I've changed my spectacles for around 3-4 times, visiting the refractionist every other day. This doesn't match me, this doesn't match me. And I never thought that it could be related to stress. And your speech was so much enlightening to me. As in, then I realized, this could be the reason.
Very interestingly, Fatima, I have lots of doctors as my clients because, doctors, working women, especially doctors, have one of the most stressful lives. I'm a gynecologist, and it was really...
I understand.
It was just making my, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know whether I was coming or going, So I understand, yeah. So just try the stress management measures and things and see how you...
And what made you, complete transition from your gynecologist to this mind coach thing? What was the triggering point there?
I'm not a mind coach. I'm a health coach, but I incorporate mindfulness in my. I'm a health coach.
So you're currently working in the gynecology sector as well?
No. I think you missed my introduction. No, I'm not working in the hospital. I gave up work in 2020 because it was just too stressful, and I was having lots of health conditions myself. So I just couldn't carry on. I only do coaching now. I only do online coaching now. That's all I do.
Okay, yeah, I would like to get in touch with you in WhatsApp, as you told before.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for your wonderful session, and thank you so much for the ADN talks, for taking up such mind-blowing speech or presentation, and the international presenters for this session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Fatima.
Thank you. Then Fatima Safa, you can unmute now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Fatima.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine. Your class was amazing. Alhamdulillah, it was wonderful. And I am studying into class 12, and I have a lot in science stream, in medical, and I have a lot of stress during exams. When I'm preparing for exams, I am not even getting what are the topics which I taught yesterday itself, and I am not getting it what is happening today. And can you please tell me how can I increase my willpower for studying?
This is I wouldn't be able to say this, but I would say that practicing mindfulness. So just quieten your mind, instead of worrying about, what I have to study and how is it that going to, just for 5 minutes, just empty your mind. So just when you get up, maybe after your Fajr Salah, after you finished your Adhkar and all of that, just sit down for 5 minutes and just, you can go on any video. You can, like there are lots of videos on YouTube that shows you how to, just focus on your breath. That's the easiest way to do it. Just focus on your breath. It'll teach you. So just practice, breath mindfulness or something like that. You'll find something, just follow the video along and it'll really quieten your mind. You won't see the effect straight away. It'll take a couple of weeks for you to actually, but once you see the effect, you will not stop doing it because it is so beneficial. And focus on your diet.
Okay,
focus on your diet. Don't eat junk and processed food.
Ma'am, actually, I'm in Kashmir, and because of some languages also, and the climate and different variety of, basically, I'm from Kerala, and the language also affects me. And sometimes the climate also is very harsh here and very cold. And sometimes I cannot even think about how can I study, how can I open my books because of getting distracted from every study things. I'm so much disturbed sometimes when I'm going to study.
Wow.
Actually, my mom and dad is principal here, and they are also trying to motivate me a lot. They are saying that you can do like this, you can do this type, and you can do your level best. And because of only my education, they are staying here, and they wanted a great response from me. But I'm trying my level best, and you may say some tips for me. How can I increase my?
I don't. I'm really sorry, but I don't. There's another person waiting, Fatima, and I don't think I can do more. There's a very specific question, isn't it? So what I've told you, try and do that. Okay. All right then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And this will be our last question.
Yeah.
So, Wajha, you can.
Exactly number.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I wanted to first tell you that I also developed maybe because stress, but hypothyroidism.
Okay.
So I want to know the minimum, the amount of mindfulness, what type of exercise I should do daily and for how much time.
I would start with 5 minutes, honestly. I would just start with 5 minutes. And I'm sure there's a lot of, videos out there. If you just Google it on YouTube, you'll find, breath, lots of them are there. Just follow one of them.
Okay, I want to do it on my own. I'm not into, opening something videos. I can't do it.
Okay. No, but just to learn it, just to learn the way. So you just learn it, and then it's not rocket science. It's just focusing on yourself, focusing on your breath, focusing on the sensations. Feel the air breathing. I mean, we don't have time. Otherwise, I could have demonstrated to you. It's just sitting in a comfortable position. Just sort of close your eyes if you need to. Take a sort of a deep breath and just feel the sort of breath going into your nostrils, down the back of your throat. So just sort of try and empty your mind of all thoughts. It happens slowly. Your thoughts will keep coming. You start thinking about what's cooking and whatever it is. So just just acknowledge those thoughts and then come back to your breath. Whenever you think you're losing focus, come back to your breath. And it'll take time, but you'll notice that once you do that, it'll really quieten the mind. It has so many benefits, it can help you focus better. It can really reduce your stress. I can't hear you.
Like you said, minimum 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
What is how much time you practice mindfulness? What should be, should be like?
I sometimes do 5 minutes. Sometimes I do 10 minutes. I normally don't have time to do more than that. It's not about the time.
And daily?
Ideally, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You just conveyed everything very beautiful. Then now, let me share a token of love on behalf of my team, ADN Talks, to ma'am for your valuable session. Pose, please.
Oh, thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Finally, I would like to convey my deep regard to all the participants here who have invested your time to update and upgrade yourself. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for the upcoming amazing guests on board. See you all tomorrow. Bye for now. Here, Lamia Mujib signing off. Thank you so much.